Don't answer my line for just anyone. Don't share my time with just anyone.
Thurz and X, pull up, steering with my left, feeling on with my right, a little inside. Y'all niggas ain't that bright. No off switch, something light. Can't and may. Those two words I don't like. A nigga just do it.
Morning, everyone. Here at home base, OnlyF.A.M.S show. I'm your host, David Nam.
I'm A. Toro, and we have the wonderful, super talented entrepreneur, songwriter, artist. I mean, the list can go on.
Renaissance man.
But give it up for Thurz.
Yeah.
Thanks for the intro, man.
I'm like, I could have just kept going on and on.
I know it's just like a laundry list of things. Just like, wait, video game producer, ball players, writer, baller, act like his father, dating, like maybe business partner. It just, I don't even know how you sleep.
HOV lane runner. Oh, feel that one.
By my step.
It has an upset. You told me that.
Have you seen those like weirdly etiquette dolls there? You can like blow up, put them in the back seat and the front seat.
Yeah.
I do one of those. I need one of those. But I be just hoping that the windows is tinted enough.
Yes. You just gotta be careful of them on the bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cars, you just keep on going.
Right.
It's totally fine.
But anyway, let's get into it. We got limited time with Thurz, super busy man. First thing I wanted to get right into, I'm seeing a mastering process happen right now. Fill us in.
Yeah, man. So shout out to my guy Jeff Bates. We've been mastering the album. It's called Yannick Coffee and Time. Man, it's a cool concept project that's introducing everybody to the world of Thurz. Man, it's really about the relationship with me and my phone.
Is that already said locations off of you Find Me? Is that like that whole line you drafting?
I mean, it all alludes to, me having some type of relationship with my phone or interacting with it on a daily basis, trying to manage everything that I'm doing through my calendar. I always tell people, if it's not on my calendar, it
Doesn't exist.
it doesn't exist. I'm not gonna remember. I literally do everything off of my phone. So like, for me to make an album, I was like, then how am I gonna capture myself at this moment in time? And I'm like, this is currently how I'm doing. Everything is like, I'm in Slack, I'm in Discord, I'm on my email, I'm on text messages, open sea.
No, dead ass, I will say, Thursday night we worked together multiple times. And I don't know how you do it because like he'd be like, we have very important phone calls or whatever it is. He's like, I'm just gonna pull over. And we still conduct business the way that we conduct business. You know what I mean? But I always like admire the fact that you could be on the road and still do your thing. Whereas like, I don't know, maybe I'm just an old man, I'm old school. I got to sit in front of the computer and like all the attention. But that's one thing I was I'm like, man, Thursday on the road.
Hey man, I'm literally on the move all the time, man. So, between having kids and trying to, manage the household and then doing everything I'm doing, literally my phone is like my go-to for everything, where everything lives. So to make an album, I was like, I have to reflect that, I wear a lot of different hats and the music reflects that. It's telling a story. And we pulled some inspiration from, Joaquin Phoenix with Her, the movie Her. So
One of my favorite movies, man.
yeah.
We actually is your favorite movie, you said earlier.
It's one of my favorite movies.
What was it?
As of late. So shout out to Road Boulevard. He actually forced me to watch. He was like, yo, you gotta watch this, dude. Like, this is not you, but low-key you. I'm like,
Well, they're looking at him minus the mustache. I mean, he looks like a weird Tom Selleck, but yeah, is this... But honestly, that leads to my question I had for you, but I interrupted you. You want to talk about your album.
Yeah.
So please do that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Took some inspiration from Her and 17 tracks on there. So it's a full length album. Yeah, production from Mike and Keys, production from DJ Battlecat, DJ Khalil, Road Boulevard, 14KT, and THX, soundtrack. I hope I'm not missing anybody. But like the magical thing about all those producers is I have like bodies of work with each of them. So like
roll like a booby credits just like Her.
We talked a few weeks back, feature-wise.
Features, GLC is on there, Tiffany Boucher is on there, the homie Barney Bones is on there, Kenny Franklin, Sango has production on there, so that's who I almost forgot about. I can't forget about Sango.
Yeah.
It's just like Fat Ron in my Europe, Bless Escrow, Just like, you know, the part of my living room, homies.
The family,
Yeah.
which we'll get into in a short second. And when are we looking at the release this summer?
Man, yeah, ASAP.
ASAP.
I'm like,
Oh, so yesterday.
Yesterday for sure.
Maybe by the time everyone watches this, it'll already be on all platforms streaming.
And on PIMLR World.
There's a couple of things I had to ask. One about, let's specifically talk about your relationship with your phone. So how do you find, like, is it more of a distraction or like either or?
Sometimes it's a distraction when I use it when I need to. In moments of creation, I'm usually trying to just reflect so I can like have a unique perspective on what I'm talking about or tell a unique story. The story will shape the song. So like, you know, I try not to lean too heavy on my phone when coming up with like unique concepts because I don't want to be influenced by somebody else's story. So unless I'm just kind of like looking up a current event or trying to reference something that comes up in thought and I want to validate, you know, the truth behind it or something. So I'll just use it as a reference, but not as inspiration.
That's awesome because this goes out to my other part, which you talked about perspective. So one thing I loved about Bitch I Me is I was like, it made me kind of like go down like this rabbit hole of being like, wait, are the different tonalities of how you're rapping a different perspective? Is it like Mad Lib's Quasimodo?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be like that? And I was like, I don't know, because there's so many different perspectives, right? It almost is like you're having a conversation with yourself in your head.
Yeah.
Right? And then like there's different parts and different talks about like how fear, and there's different like sayings you have within the fear part. And that's another part I want to talk to you for all these influencers, any artist. Fear is definitely, you know, looked at either as being a limiter or a driver, right? So you obviously taken that idea of it being very much a limiter, right? Because it has no exchange, as you said, right? So my thing is, like, was that purposeful, or was it just like, did you purposely be like, hey, I want to look at this and show people the different alter egos that I have, or like the different personalities? Because it's beautifully done.
That's definitely a great takeaway. And a lot of that magic happened in the editing process, right? So literally, it was just like a reflection. Like the concept was like me looking in the mirror. Yeah, definitely talking to myself. And then the third voice was just like an extra kind of like engineering idea that Ro kind of like created or thought of in that process of mixing vocals down. So that's definitely the intention. And then, you know, shout out to Ro, he's able to like take it up another notch. So, you know, he's like one of my pressure testers, you know, like I've submitted concept over to him, and you know, you need that circle of like homies that you can just send something to.
Steel sharpens steel.
Yeah. And then he's like, yo, this is dope. Let me mess with it for a little bit. What do you think of this? And I'm like, that's better than where it started. We even sped up the BPM a little bit and, you know, add different elements here and there. So, you know, it was a creative collaboration that, you know, started with that concept and then we enhanced it more. So, you know, really love that record.
That's amazing. And I'm only saying this is not about me, but I was working with an executive coach. And the first thing that we did was that voice, that inner voice, she made me give it a name.
Okay.
She made me give it a name and acknowledge that voice, right? Because sometimes, to Nam's point, that could be the limiter, right? That could be the person that is, not the person, but the voice that is going to stop you from being great, right? Or you train it, and and essentially what it was like, shut the up. No, I got it from here. And you kind of go from there. And, you know, for you to be able to put that in art form, you know, because again, I think there's a lot of these concepts that are out there, right? That we organically kind of arrive to. But, you know, then there's a whole other industry that has named it, that is categorized and things like that. So the fact that you were doing that just straight off of creativity and, you know, the story you were telling, is amazing.
Nice, man.
It's not a matter of me just like, you know, pumping your tires, you know, you got to like, you know, give flowers, you got to give flowers. But I love that you stay true to your sound, and it's almost coming back full circle. And you're definitely a part of that influence, right? So like, how do you feel like, you know, how do you weigh up like, okay, am I veering way too much away from what I'm doing right now to just drop on this opportunistic beat? Like, do you like, or do you just like, you know what, you can drop it on anything? Like, do you find it's like, I'm going to do this right now. I want to like grow as, you know, as a rapper, as an artist, you know, as the many things that you are, or are you very selective about that? Because I've seen everything seems so calculated.
in the best way possible?
I get in modes where I'm just kind of like constantly recording, whether it's something trendy or whether it's something traditional. I kind of just jump on whatever moves me. There's no real method to the madness. It's just whatever catches me, however I'm inspired at that time. And then I'm just trying to have a quantity approach, but make it quality. So I'm just trying to like balance and just kind of stay in a creative mode. And then you kind of lightning will strike at certain moments. And then, when that lightning strikes, I'm just adding more onto it or, putting something that is very dope or special, and I might just kind of store it in my Dropbox, and then find the right time to release it.
Want to jump into PIMLR World. Go. And my foray into it is obviously we've been working really closely on that side of things.
Yeah.
And, seeing this, you're talking about quality and, quantity. It's funny that Jerry Maguire, the Quan, he talks about like it's both. Do you know what I mean? But my thing is like, you've taken this movement and you've taken this project almost and turned it into a lifestyle movement and a multimedia company and almost a clothing brand. And, it's crazy how they really show if you have a real solid strategy and really solid story, it can manifest into any kind of anything, right? So for my example, it was at the PIMLR House with GB Black.
Well, I think
Coachella.
Before we even get to that, because we're gonna have a lot of new eyeballs on these episodes. So for those that don't know, PIMLR equals Party in My Living Room.
Yeah.
I'll toss it to Thurz to give us some background.
Yes.
But some recent massive success that I would love to talk about because not just anyone gets invited to come to Coachella 2 years back to back.
Yeah, Party in My Living Room started as a house party, that's the true roots of it. Literally on 2nd Ave and 108th. Shout out to J Pounds. He lent me his house to throw the first house party. My boy Josh. But yeah, it started as a house party and literally put together a flyer with an RSVP email. And got like 2,000 emails. And like 600, 700 people showed up to the first event. And we had like a 1,500 square foot house, like, big ass backyard. And I literally set up my band in the living room, had my sound engineer, had a DJ booth, had an open car. We kind of stumbled on gold, knowing that people wanted to come out locally. People didn't want to go to Hollywood. They wanted to come locally and party with, the homies. And I had a lot of great talent pop up. I had Inglewood Sir. I had Tiffany Boucher, had Overdose, Exile, Mono Mari. Everybody was in the house and we all kind of like performed, DJ'd. People had great memories, got content, and that kind of like set the standard for what Part of My Living Room was. I was able to take that, replicate it in different markets, so like Chicago, Atlanta, Colorado, Denver, and even outside of Coachella, and then having that full circle moment of being able to come back and be a part of Coachella was kind of cool.
So real quick, and we'll also link in the description, PIMLR's YouTubers are some amazing performances all throughout the channel. But how did Coachella come knocking on the door? Like, how did that happen?
So shout out to Don Dada and Rhea. They've been longtime supporters. But they're over at AEG and they're a Golden Voice and part of the GV Black team. So, they've been following what Party in My Living Room's been doing for a minute. And then they just reached out, and shout out to homegirl Liz too. She was really instrumental in presenting the idea to the GV Black team. But they hit me up and we went and had a sit down at their office. I kind of just presented them what Party in My Living Room was and she, showed my deck and the data and the mailing list and everything that we've kind of like built. And, they saw the value there and they want to make sure that, there's a space for it at Coachella.
Yeah.
And they thought Party in My Living Room was a great vehicle or, a great partner to bring and make sure that our cultural space was present on the ground.
That's super dope for Golden Voice to, one, just even have that as a top of mind initiative and part of their ethos. And I say that just because of having worked on festivals forever, that's the first thing I'd always notice. Like I can go to Lollapalooza specifically.
Yeah.
And, it was the people of color, we're all working. you know, and it's like you look around and it's like, okay, we're on the stages, especially in a place like Chicago, right, where those tickets are priced out. You know, kids from the South Side, West Side are not gonna be able to make it. So for Coachella to be the festival that it is, right? Every celebrity goes there, all the influencers go there, you know, and then for this to be a staple, you know, is that's big, man.
For you, do you see that as, you know, like companies that lack that should be just, you know, hiring an entire department, or do you see yourself as being this thing where you need to be an outsider looking in? Like, does it work? Like, let's say we have a company right now, we have a department that works on that vertical. Is that going to become something where it becomes repetitive and stale, and then therefore doesn't actually evolve with time? Because we all have our own respective companies. And I think that's what keeps those companies fresh, keeps them up to date, keeps them real.
Yeah. I mean, I would say there's not a lot of companies. I mean, that question was directed at me, but you know,
Please open forum.
I'm saying, well, we worked in the culture space. You know, I've been in the culture space my entire career. You know,
We all have, yeah.
we all have, yeah. And it's I say that because it's like, you know, when you have companies that are actively being like, oh, we're gonna bring the sauce in house, this shit never works.
Never.
Because at the end of the day, we still got to prove ourselves to people that don't understand the culture, right? And so that's always the hang up. You know, I still got to make you try to notice me. I got to still make you like hopefully trust me when we're telling you this is going to work, you know? And so, you know, and I think I've seen it a number of times where it's like, oh, this company launches a culture program or a music program or a dance program. And I'm not talking about Red Bull. I think Red Bull did, you know, a great job with it, you know, in the time that we were there. But what I'm saying is you see these other ones and it's fly by night. Yeah. Because you have someone that doesn't understand it and they want whatever ROI is in their mind is never going to be good enough. But if you know, again, now we all have our respective companies, agencies, whatever you want to call them. And now my phone's off the ringer because now I'm an external and they still want that. They want the sauce, they want the network, they want the social currency. And now it's kind of weird that there's the hurdles that we don't have to jump through now that we're outside versus being inside. Just because there's a lot to cover with PIMLR, and we have limited time with Thurz. Are we coming back for year 3?
Yeah, we're working on a partnership, you know, just to even work outside of just Coachella. So yeah, I kind of announced that when we get to that point. But yeah, I heard it first. Yeah.
I will say with Party in My Living Room, started as a house party, started as in real life events.
Yep.
Then pandemic hits, and then you were more content focused, which again, a lot of great performances online.
Yeah.
And now we got the Coachella side of it. I would love to hear more about the virtual side of it.
With the pandemic, you know, the lens of creating like an actual ecosystem. How does like an artist actually connect with their fan base, you know, outside of just in the IRL space? How do you distribute your content? How do you distribute your IP? So, you know, I think 2020 was like that moment of reflection where, you know, you kind of find more purpose and, you know, find more direction in the things that are created organically. Because, you know, Party in My Living Room was created out of necessity. You know, I had a project that I was trying to promote, and I went through a grassroots approach to play my music to an audience and, you know, create an entity and invite people into that space. That concept, you know, going into 2020, I knew that I had to reach people. If I have like art that I want to, you know, release, I got to create some type of series. If I can't shoot these videos, I could at least do performances in my living room and have homies come through and, you know, shoot content and release it weekly. So that kind of creates an ecosystem and a relationship with an audience and, you know, potential to build a wider audience. So the idea of like distribution was constant in my head during 2020. So knowing that I'm an entrepreneur, a DIYer by force, you know, I was like, damn, how do I reimagine distribution to where I can like monetize my IP, allow my community to, you know, monetize their IP. So we get into the concept of gaming, you know, like the total addressable market, as, you know, Nab kind of gave me some verbiage to, you know, or some new vernacular to throw out. You know, in gaming is pretty massive. The revenue in gaming is crazy. Yeah. And then when you look at music, it's a fraction of what, gaming produces. So when you merge that, you have crazy, potential to do something unique and provide equity for artists, and getting their IP out to, their fans. So, what we're doing part of my living room now is just creating a world of gaming. And that's gaming and music together. It's not, one or the other. We're literally, building utility around music inside of games, like I have a first person shooter game, and a few other entities or a few other titles, with my partners. But yeah, we're building some really cool things, and games that are gonna onboard different artists for a lot of different narratives that have an LA kind of approach or touch. But that's just to start, and build some cool stuff.
What's dope is you got the gaming portion of it. Obviously, we've been able and fortunate enough to run through it a few times. But then there's also different types of IP featured in it, right? Because it's like you have the gamify side of it. Then there's obviously the music as the music bed. But then there's like the artwork from your latest release.
And then there are
music videos. It becomes this, like, to your point, full immersive experience where, it's not just a soundtrack going on. I think we've seen that a number of times. It shouts to, all the big games that, have featured. I mean, you've been featured a number of times on a lot of video games, but like this is like almost like the double click in to get even deeper, where it's like you're still having a good time, but not realizing the Easter eggs that are on the wall or in that store, or, you know what I mean? Like,
But if there's any artists that are really looking to sort of create that immersive gaming experience, this is it. You heard it here first. It's happening here.
Well, and I say this too, I was just watching some Jack Harlow interview yesterday or the day before. And, he's basically talking about what we've been talking about in the industry for quite some time. But ultimately, it's like there's going to be a limited number of superstars. But what Thurz is building is exactly that from the ground up, which is ecosystem, right? And like, that's been one of my main goals in my career. And I think that's why we all get along so well, is because we've been trying to, in whatever capacity we can, is help artists build that ecosystem. And so I think, again, once you have that ecosystem, I feel like it's all hard work, but it's a little more chill when it comes to activating your audience that's already there, because there's already other things that are happening. Whereas, think about traditionally, it's like, all right, I got this project, then you go dormant, then you come back, hey, remember me? And like that was, as a marketer, pain in my ass, you know what I mean? Because any big project I would get, it's like, okay, I got to go wake up a bunch of people or remind you why you like this artist. Whereas you have an ecosystem, it's a little different, because what you've already built, like you are proof of concept. This hat, any release, I'm like, yo, Thurz, I need that. You know what I mean? There might be no new music coming, but I'm like, I need that tea, and it's touch point. You got a show, all right, let's go pull up, or, whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. Multiple touch points. I will go, is just to switch gears a little bit, because I know we got limited time, is around ecosystem, proof of concept. So Thurz, again, we named a bunch of things that he does. And zooming out, he is a really, he's one of the most wanted collaborators from a writing perspective, and just being in the booth on that front of the ecosystem of Thurz.
Yeah.
Any exciting projects you're a part of that's coming up?
Yeah, Missionary. Shout out to Snoop, shout out to Dre. Was able to jump in the room with those guys. A few songs.
Just Snoop and Dre.
I just literally looked at the camera. I just literally looked at the camera. You snake that. I was like, yeah, this is what it is.
That's the fight. This is what little names.
It's fine. But, those are, the bros. But I was able to work with Aftermath for a few years, and then it's dope to see Snoop and Dre come back together and commit to a project. And Snoop is being produced in there through Dre, and through the room, and so many geniuses in there with like great ideas. And then Dre's like the maestro, just kind of conducting the situation, and making everybody perform to their highest level. And Snoop is coming in killing the raps. It's dope, it's dope. Man, he's like, you understand why he is the biggest rap brand, for so long. It's literally like you're in the room with one of your relatives, He's just cool, personable, one of the funniest people. You know, he's off the cusp with like jokes, and I'm like, you can do stand up. You know, you're that funny. But yeah, he's one of the favorites to be around. Him and Dre, they kind of just always go off of each other, and you know, it's like Def Comedy Jam in the studio. So
which is awful. No, it's crazy because it's funny because I feel like a lot of rappers could do stand up, right? Because you know, the minds just move fast.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, if you coming from like battle, yeah, you know, you're looking at what's in front of you, you're snapping, you going right at it.
Yeah.
Like I always think about like one of our homies, Nems, who hopefully we'll have on the show at some point. You know, he does stand up now. Nems is funny as shit.
We on stand up?
Yeah, I mean, he was just on the Today Show.
Oh wow.
And it wasn't, you know, and this is with all respect, like it wasn't like the Today Show was having to perform. It was because Mario Lopez loves his "Don't Ever Disrespect Me" shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like Roseanne Barr even said some, but I say that because it's like there's a lot of rappers that are hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, like, man.
I want to know what inspires you for our ongoing segment is called Thamsy with. So it's the, you know, fashion, arts, music, and subcultures. So if we can jump into that. So fashion.
What the first thing that comes to mind is my homie Gustavo. So he like made these pants for me. You know, he made this shirt. He actually made this piece as well. It has like Thurz on the back and P.I.M.L.R on it. So like I like really like one of one items, you know, stuff that you can't buy at the mall or at like a boutique style.
Utilitarian.
And you know, stuff that me and the homies will make, like, you know, like the hats here, you know, and I try to wear more stuff every day, you know, so like I'm really rocking stuff the homies make.
Hey man, I got all your stuff.
I gotta get my Los Vuelos.
I got you. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's one thing I will say, just having lived in New York and LA, and I'm sure it happens in, you know, other cities, but man, the way folks hold, you know, the homies down and like make it a point to make sure that they're rocking, you know, the homie stuff is, I love it. And that's why, you know, we always talk about it. We're like, Thurz, what's that? And they say, oh, this is so-and-so. And then I'm over here like, send me the IG. So great brand ambassador.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely, man.
And I gotta get my Yagi merch, you know what I'm saying? We need some Yagi
Stories are being told.
slippers. Some slippers. And then also on the fashion side, I'm working with Kami Studios. We're doing this 3D printed shoe that it's like a digital twin, you know? You can purchase this 3D printed shoe. You can actually wear it, and then you can also play or style your avatar in P.I.M.L.R World with the same shoe.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
let's go.
But that's the on the fashion side. I mean, it's a lot to go on the fashion side. There's Supervision, you know, they got their brick and mortar location on Slauson, Bricks and Woods, you know.
These are all great places.
Union, that's Gibbs, you know, that's actually where I got these from. Yeah, I think that covers a good, they're not the best.
Now, this is a big one. Art. For me, like, I would love to know what artist, or, you know, it can be anything. I make that joke, sandwich artist from Subway, you could be your favorite guy there, to, you know, nail artist, but I'd love to know, you know, what art you're feeling these days.
The homie Blue, everything that, you know, I love his murals, I love his paintings, you know, I patronized the Jordan collab he did a few years back. He's one of my favorites. My daughter, man, she just finished this dope painting of like this Alice in Wonderland flip with like, you know, Alice being black and her homegirls being black and in Wonderland. So,
No.
she did it. It was like probably like a 5x5 kind of like canvas, and she completed it days ago.
Yeah.
She's a graphic artist and a painter and a fashion designer. So, you know, she's been inspiring me on the art side. And then I also shout out my boy Pedro. You know, he helped me with a lot of these animations earlier on in the first iteration of like P.I.M.L.R World. But, you know, his hand drawings is dope. So if you ever watch P.I.M.L.R sessions and you see me spinning, you know, he's the artist that created that.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, so.
Let me see. No. The music and subcultures and scenes, if you want to just maybe like tell us like music-wise, who you feeling right now?
Yeah. Oh, man.
This is gonna be a lot of one.
I don't know this dude, but the homie Black Thought put me on to, he didn't put me on to him,
The homie Black Thought.
yeah. He played on a few joints from Makami, and I know Makami just released Rich Ass Haitian, and I think he's like a really great rapper, man. I think he's really dope. So I've been like playing a lot of Miami as of late. And Black Thought kind of always stays in rotation. You know, he has some dope joints from Madlib that he played me. Hopefully I end up on some of those records. We'll see.
You
Homie Khan, you know, as part of the Aftermath team. He stays dropping quality projects and keeps me inspired to like have a high output of quality. Coco Siraj, she rocked at the Coachella activation.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough to experience that. That was dope.
She has one of my favorite live shows, and you know, she's just a very dope artist. M.I. Europe and Kaylin Ellis, they just released a dope project and had like this single called Masterpiece that's been going really crazy. I'll also say Clothing God, you know, he's wow.
And she's such a sweet person. She's such a sweet person too, man. I love that girl, man. It's dope.
I think she's a superstar, man. So
In the making. Like, it's about to happen.
Yeah, like, it's happening, man.
Yeah.
Like, so shout out to Kaz and Henny over at AQT and Jake. You know, they got their hands on like a really great artist and they're doing really good by her. So, you know, anything I can do to support her, I'm down. Who else, man? Fat Ron. Yeah, he's like one of my favorites. He's like the West Coast CeeLo, and he's part of my living room, you know. But yeah, there's a few homies, and yeah, the list could go on if I start going, you know.
And now moving on though to subcultures and scenes, you know, kind of all unpacked under kind of like what trends or because you're almost like you're a trendsetter and a starter. So I'd love to know like what subcultures and scenes that really caught your eye as of late. Like, you know.
I mean, I've just been kind of diving into like this gaming space even more. And my boy Craig Tinsley, he has this game called Rap Quest. All right, so he has like 3 iterations of it, and he's had over like 80,000 downloads on each iteration. Wow. He's been helping me to actually make PIMLR World more fun. So playing his game, you know, seeing how the characters are developed, and you know, it introduces me into how games should actually be developed from the ground up and have, you know, cultural appropriateness, you know, as you would say. So that's like a subset that I've been diving into. And then my kids kind of keep me playing Roblox when I don't even want to play. But that's a big inspiration for even going down, you know, to this gaming route. So yeah, that's a subset I would kind of like, you know, touch on. More animation films. So the homie Tyree works over at Sony. He's been like doing a lot of great work over at Sony, and he has this new film he's been putting a lot of time into, and he's like the head of like animation for this film.
Nice. That's one of our favorite segments. Appreciate you playing. So yeah, I appreciate you pulling up. You know what I mean? Like, there's always a pleasure. I know we gotta keep it moving. Yeah, I got on to the next 20 minutes.
Well, like 5 minutes ago.
I missed one already. I'm like, damn, like they didn't have it on my calendar, so it wasn't real.
But dude, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you, man.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. All right, man. Well, that's the segment. OnlyFans episode with Thurz. Thurz's new album is just dropping. Check it on all streaming platforms. And also, even better, we'll drop the URL in the description for PIMLR World. You should check that out as well. Check out all the things, and obviously follow our boy Thurz.
Peace.
Don't answer my line for just anyone. Don't share my time with just anyone.
Thurz and action, full up steering with my left, feeling on with my right, a little inside. Y'all niggas ain't that bright. No off switch, something like K and May. Those 2 words I don't like. A nigga just do it like night. For sure her type, and a best friend, nothing nice.
All right, fine.